Moses. Bible Heroes in Poetry. By Faye Colum Fairley. Moses was born to a Hebrew slave, who worked for Pharaoh day after day. Pharaoh was scared as slaves multiplied. He ordered the death of every male child. His mom placed a vessel in the river Nile, with hopes of protecting her dear child. Moses was safe from the king's decree, floating in the Nile among the reeds. As God designed, Moses was found by Pharaoh's daughter, safe and sound. Then God arranged for Moses' own mom to care for the boy when he was young. Moses learned the Egyptian ways. God knew he would use Moses one day. Moses killed a man for beating a slave. Fearing for his life, Moses ran away. Moses was scared, and 40 years old, agreed to marry the daughter of Jethro. He tended flocks and stayed for years. One day, in a burning bush, God appeared. Moses was told to go to Egypt again, to lead God's children to the promised land. Aaron and Moses went on their way, to tell the Israelites they couldn't stay. The children convinced and wanted to go. They were stopped by the evil Pharaoh. With a hardened heart, he stood in the way. So God told Moses to bring on the plagues. Every drop of water was turned bright red. What once was water, is blood now instead. The smell was atrocious with the dead fish. Still Pharaoh did not grant their wish. Moses asked, and was denied again. The plague of frogs was ordered then. The frogs took over the entire place. In beds, kitchens, hands and face. King Pharaoh would still not agree to let all of God's children go free. All the dust was turned into lice. They were everywhere, what a fright. But evil Pharaoh stood his ground. God caused the flies to swarm around, attacking Egyptians and their livestock, harming people, and all their flocks. When he refused again, to set them free, God caused a very deadly animal disease. The cattle, camels, sheep, and goats. No animal escaped the plague God smote. Pharaoh declined Moses one more time. He didn't know what God had in mind. Soot from the furnace tossed in the air, created festering boils everywhere. God told Moses to try once more, to free the children that he adored, to prove God's power to all these men. God ordered hail to rain down on them. Pharaoh refused their freedom again. So God sent locusts over all the land. All the food, these locusts devoured. Pharaoh saw God's majestic power. Pharaoh still would not concede, refused to let the children go free. God sent darkness to last 3 days. No one could see, or leave his place. God told Moses to tell the Israelites, the oldest child dies at midnight. Put lamb's blood over their door. Death won't stop, it will pass all. Pharaoh was scared, after the plagues. The children left Egypt with arms upraised. Moses led the children with God's hand, with anticipation of the promised land. Pharaoh followed, to stop their flight. In the Red Sea, they lost their lives. Chariots, horses, and Pharaoh's men drowned as the sea closed in on them. Through the wilderness, the children said, "You should have left us, we'll all be dead." God provided for the children's needs. They had food and water, cool and heat. Hunger nor sickness caused them pain. But still, they mumbled and complained. When Moses went up to get the rules, the Israelites began to act like fools. The trip to the promised land was long, because the children kept acting wrong. 40 years God made them stray. Because of their rebellious ways, they finally made it to the promised land. Moses didn't cross with the other men. Moses was then instructed to write the laws God gave him for all to live by. We have all these written laws today. God says if we love him, we will obey. Many are used for jobs great and small. How will you answer if you get the call?